Hey there, Internet. Michael Besog here. It's the 9th of January, 2018, and today we're going to talk about the current state of feminism, the condition of Black Lives Matter, and why I think feminism should join Black Lives Matter in the near future. So, let's start with Black Lives Matter. Ever since 2014, I've wondered, how does this movement end? I mean, this is a movement that seems to prefer rhetoric over reason. It seems to prefer the destruction of property and looting over nonviolent protest. It seems to prefer the heckler's veto over the exercise of speech. I really didn't think it would last this long, so where is it now? What does it look like at the beginning of 2018? Well, according to RollingStone.com contributor Tue, in a year inside Black Lives Matter, from December 7th, 2017, there is no national leadership. It is diffused among autonomous chapters, and its structure is not entirely clear to outsiders by design. The members I interviewed discussed a range of ideas, from imagining transformational new systems to address the inequality and oppression in society, to more specific and immediate policy goals. For some, imagining new systems includes radical ideas like abolishing the police force. In BLM circles, it's referred to as being an abolitionist. It's not that the police are bad at doing something good, Goggins, an essayist, poet, organizer, and movement strategist, says. It's that they're good at doing something very bad. The system is not reformable. The entire thing needs to change. Some say they foresee neighborhoods policed by unarmed community members instead of by the state's armed guards. Well, I read that, and to me that looks very promising. If only everyone could be made aware of the truly wonderful ideas that Black Lives Matter is working up. Now, of course, some are unsure of what unarmed community policing might look like, just as we all wonder, I'm sure. But, they say, for them, the situation is so untenable that anything else is preferable. What situation specifically? Police killing black people? Is that an accurate summation of the problem? Well, according to Wesley Lowery, in his July 11, 2016 article, "Aren't more white people than black people killed by police? Yes, but no," 154 armed young white men and 151 armed young black men were shot and killed by police in the same period since January 2015. Given that a disproportionate amount of murders and other violent crimes are committed by black Americans, also according to that same Washington Post article, officers will be disproportionately confronting armed and often resisting suspects in those communities. And according to the most critical and accurate study done on the subject, an empirical analysis of racial differences in police use of force by Roland G, blacks are less likely to be shot than whites in the U.S. He states, "Given the stream of video evidence, which many take to be indicative of structural racism in police departments across America, the ensuing and understandable outrage in black communities across America, and the results from our previous analysis of non-lethal uses of force, the results displayed in Table 5 are startling. Blacks are 23.8% less likely to be shot by police relative to whites. Hispanics are 8.5% less likely to be shot, but the coefficient is statistically insignificant." But since Roland G is undoubtedly a white man, nothing he says should be taken seriously. And, of course, since statistics and facts are of no use to us anyway, let us move on to what the current Black Lives Matter want. It's hard to say. Black Lives Matters? Black Lives Matter? What the current BLM wants. Patrisse Cullors, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, says that the problem is greater than the moment when an officer confronts a black citizen. Prior to that moment, she says, they should be asking what sort of resources do they have in that neighborhood? Do they have access to after-school programming? Do they have access to career development? Of course, As with any progressive movement, we can translate the word access here using our 1984 Newspeak dictionary, where it means free. So let's reread those questions. What free things did they have in that neighborhood? Did they have free after-school programming? Do they have free career development? Obviously, if these young armed men had more free things, they wouldn't have had this violent interaction with the police, and all of our problems would be solved. So is this where we leave Black Lives Matter? Organizing in small local chapters, no longer protesting, contemplating nonsensical communist utopias. Perhaps. It just might be. But hey, at least the Pennsylvania chapter of Black Lives Matter is still ready to show its might to Swedish retailers like H&M. You see, this was H&M's latest ad, and the Pennsylvania chapter of Black Lives Matter got themselves right into a van in order to go protest in front of the Chestnut Street stores, but halted their van when the retailer issued an apology. A van full of protesters at this place. That would have been mighty impactful. There's no way H&M could have ignored having twice as many people standing outside. The irony here is that if you want people to stop thinking about you in a stereotypical manner, in stereotypical images or ideas, you'll need to stop putting those images and ideas in their heads. My son would look great in that hoodie, and the theme for my son's room since he was born has been monkeys. If I can think of my son as a little monkey, but you insist that I can't think of yours as one, you're not making me less racist. You're just making sure I know how racist you are. But what does this have to do with feminism? Right, I should get to that. Feminism has a much longer history, so I'm just going to skip to the current stuff. First, if you think feminism is about equality, still, today, not historically, but now, then you are either not paying attention to modern politics, and many of you are not, and that's perfectly okay, since modern politics is simply dreadful. Or you are a feminist, and in that case, you're lying to yourself and others anyway. You see, egalitarians believe in equality. It's in the name. Feminists believe in raising the status of women over men, also in the name. For instance, there's a cafe that charges men more for the same coffee in order to, I don't know, reasons. Oh, it's because there's a gender wage gap. Right. Did I not already do a video on the gender wage gap? I'm sorry. Did not like 100,000 different videos come out in YouTube?
Women are making 100% less than men for the same job!
And articles everywhere about why the gender wage gap is a myth. Is this something feminists still wield, the gender wage gap? Of course it is. Facts don't matter, and reason is a tool of the patriarchy. So, feminists would have you believe that everyone deserves paid family leave, but if you gave it to them, it would hurt women. Or that might have just been CNN, I'm not sure. Feminists would tell you that, it's a woman's right to choose, and that's why Planned Parenthood has been responsible for the deaths of more than 7.5 million babies since 1973. Feminism uses terms like toxic masculinity, yet feminists praise masculinity in women. Feminism tells men to stop applying to colleges and jobs so that the wage gap, yes, again, will disappear. Feminism causes Iceland to enact laws that will cause employers to cut the pay of better performing women. You heard that right. In order to, again, fight the wage gap, Iceland has enacted a law which will force employers to certify that they are paying men and women equally. That means that a woman who negotiated a higher wage than her male counterpart will now get a pay cut. And that brings us to the point of this whole video. This is what feminism does. You see, just like Black Lives Matter, feminism focuses not on the merit of the individual, but on the identity of the group. And for this reason, both Black Lives Matter and feminism have what I will call a problem A, problem B dilemma. Let's stay with feminism for now and then go back to Black Lives Matter. So, feminism would have you believe that there is institutional gender-based inequality in the U.S., that women are the majority recipients of domestic violence and rape, that 1 in every 5 women is raped on a college campus, or 1 in 4, depending on which liar you're listening to. And that women make 77 cents for every dollar a man makes. Those are what I call problem A. So what is problem B? How about female genital mutilation? How about honor killings? How about acid attacks? How about actual rape? How about real legal disparity between the rights of men and women? These are real problems affecting hundreds of millions of women. These aren't what most people would call first world problems. These are real problems that can affect anyone in the world. And these should be, if anyone's, specifically, feminists' problems. These should be the problems that feminists are fighting. Now, I'm not saying that nothing about what feminism is fighting is real. Some of it certainly is. Some of it needs solving, certainly. But in comparison to what I've described as problem B, their version, their problem A, seems rather ridiculous. This is the same issue that Black Lives Matter has. What is their problem A? Cops kill black people. Okay. Well, what is their problem B? Oh, maybe it's that black people kill black people. Maybe it's the lack of fathers in black homes. If that's a fact, and here's, a few different references as to why I would think that. But if that's a fact, it would mean that the black community, the black lives which BLM espouses to care about, would be disproportionately affected by these problems: poverty, teen pregnancy, abuse, drug addiction, crime and prison, obesity, and infant mortality. That's a big problem B. Is cops killing black people a problem? Well, with maybe 250 in 2016, 250 black people killed by cops in 2016. Certainly, that's a problem. Is black people killing black people a bigger problem? Well, given that there were 2,870 black people murdered in 2016, and 2,570 of them were murdered by black people, I'd say it's a bigger problem. That's 90% of almost 3,000 murders. So Black Lives Matter and feminism both have these problem A, problem B dilemmas. Imagine you have a castle and there's an enemy at the gates, an enemy army that's going to destroy you, that is massive and powerful and wants you dead. But you're more concerned with chasing down the rodents inside the castle. Rats or whatever. Now, rats are certainly a problem. They carry disease, they eat your stored food. If they were your only problem, then sure, they could be serious. But to chase them down while ignoring, or even worse, denying the army at your gates, besieging your castle, well, that's the height of foolishness. And that is why I believe that feminism, with all its pointlessness, and Black Lives Matter should join forces. Yes, you heard that right. I think that BLM is following things like Pokemon Go and Pogs into obscurity, and it's my hope that feminism will follow it. And since apparently one of these useless movements can fade away, it is my sincere hope that the other will as well. Because honestly, anything that values group identity over individual merit should not be taken seriously. If you disagree, that's great, and I applaud you. Please let me know why my patriarchy is keeping you down or my white privilege is destroying your life in the comments below.
With that, if you like this video, please click like, and don't forget to share it. Remember, if you don't share, the terrorists win. If you want to see more of this content, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's been fun for now, be safe, and I hope to see you again soon.